absolutely hate horror, and anything that even gave the implication that it was scary. Resident Evil? Nope. Silent Hill? Heck no. Call of Duty Zombies? Get it away! Get it away! The root of that type of thinking spawned from when my father forced me into watching Child's Play at the age of 7, and it scarred me for years. I really wanted to stray as far from it as I could, and I would have kept doing so until the year 2014, when a little indie horror game started making its rounds through the YouTube landscape. I was curious and decided to take a look at the videos featuring this game. I heard about it before because some hardcore fan at my school would shut up about it every day, and the moment I watched those videos, I instantly became hooked. The concept was interesting to me. Watching countless people screaming while playing it was entertaining to watch. The animations were funny, and the theory videos left me in shock when they addressed all the secrets that revealed a hidden lore that I overlooked at first glance. This game has completely captured my attention so much that after years of sheltering myself away from horror as a whole, I swallowed my fear up with pride and decided that it was time to play my first horror game. Sure, I was terrified out of my mind, and every minute that had passed had filled me with absolute dread. But even after I finished playing, I was still content. Thanks to this game in particular, it made me more open to things in the horror genre, and it got me interested in other games with a spooky element to them, such as Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Dino Crisis, and Among Us. The real horror of Among Us is trusting a bunch of idiots you call friends with your very life! Now, some of you, who didn't pay attention to the title of the video, may be asking, what video game did I play that put me into the rabbit hole of horror? Well, the answer to that is Five Nights at Freddy's. Now listen, I have loved this game ever since 2014, and I have been keeping up to date with it ever since. To see this game grow from just a low-budget indie game to then getting 6 more main games, several book adaptations, a bunch of merchandise, all varying in different types of quality, one amazing sub-reboot VR game, and now a high-quality PS5 exclusive is a wonderful thing to see. To explain the feeling further, it's like watching a child bloom into adulthood. Except that child isn't mine, and I don't even know the parent personally. Anywho, a bunch of new games, books, and merchandise isn't all that FNAF is getting. There is also a movie adaptation in the works, being created by Blumhouse, and alongside them helping out is Scott Cawthon, the creator of the game himself, and Chris Columbus, who's known for directing or producing films such as Home Alone, Harry Potter, Gremlins, The Goonies, and oh no. Okay. As bad as those few movies are, we do have to remember that he's also taken part in a few good movies as well. Hopefully, this is one of those good movies. Now that all that has been said, I will tell you now that this video is about my thoughts and suggestions as a FNAF fan on how to make this movie great. I may not speak for all FNAF fans as a whole, but hopefully some may agree with the few points I make. But before I get into that, I have to make a brief summary on what FNAF truly is. On first glance, most people see FNAF as just a game where you get to play as a night guard who does surveillance at a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff from a small condensed space, with 2 doors on each side, where the objective is to make it through your shift starting from 12 AM to 6 AM. Check on the furries through the cameras, keep the furries out while also trying to conserve power, and then do the exact same thing on repeat for 5 nights in total. They also assume that the story itself is about robots going evil and wanting to kill you. But if you read some of the newspaper clippings on the wall, it reveals information such as 5 children reported missing at the restaurant, were lured to a back room by a guy wearing a suit of one of their mascots, and the suspect, known to the fanbase as Purple Guy, the bodies were never found. Fazbear's Pizzeria getting threatened with a shutdown for sanitation due to the fact that the animatronics had a foul odor, with one of the customers claiming to see blood and mucus coming from the mouth. and that the pizzeria is closing by the end of the year because nobody wants to go there due to the tragedy of the missing children. That is a lot deeper than what most people suspect from this game, and you have never gotten the full picture unless you pay extreme attention to detail, or just get really freaking lucky thanks to RNG, because of course, you can't have a Five Nights at Freddy's game without crucial story elements being hidden behind a bunch of bullcrap. And please don't get me started about how to get the true ending in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. That junk was torture. So in summary, 5 children were lured to a room and killed by a man wearing a mascot suit, and then the bodies were obviously stuffed inside the animatronics. How, you may ask, with all those circuits, wires, and endoskeletons? Well, the simple answer I have for you is shut up. Cause this is FNAF we're talking about here, and you're gonna catch on that a whole lot of things don't make sense. But what does that mean about the animatronics and why they went rogue? Well, to put it lightly, they're haunted by the spirits of those dead kids. And the reason why they want to kill you so much is because they think you are their murderer. Now, I could go on and tell you the whole story about how you're actually the murderer's son, why your father kills, how your father died and came back to life, your sister died from those same robots and became one of them, and all that jazz. But I just wanted to give a summary. If I told you the complete story, we'll be here for days. And I'm not freaking game theory. And unlike game theory, this will be my first and final Five Nights at Freddy's video, because I'm not looking to milk this game like a prized heifer just for monetary gain. Yet. Now that you have a basic understanding, let's talk about how to make this movie good based on what we know about the game, while also discussing the culture around it. My first recommendation: no YouTubers! When people are watching the FNAF movie, or any movie in general, they want to be fully immersed in the movie itself and its characters. And the immersion can easily be ruined if you see somebody like Markiplier handing out pizzas to the table, or some kid bust out their phone watching MatPat on YouTube discussing his theories about what really happened at the restaurant. I get that YouTubers are a big part of what made the game so successful in the first place, and it might sound cool on paper to include them into the movie, but it'll make the movie feel too corny, and I'm pretty sure Scott isn't trying to make a movie like the Banana Splits again. If he feels like they have to be in the movie, just have them hiding in the background and in a position where we can't see their faces. Or better yet, reference them in a way where it's not too direct, like have a poster in the background that says "Play Speculation" as a call out to game theory, or an arcade machine called Multiplier with a character in the game that looks similar to Markiplier. All of these should be good ways of tackling YouTuber inclusion. And please, I am begging you, Scott, do not give any YouTuber a single main character role, because not every YouTuber is a good actor, and most people cannot focus on the role they are playing. They only focus on the part that it's a YouTuber they know.
Here's a picture of Healthy.
You could say I didn't need to put this part into the video and discuss about this further, because you would think it's just perfect common sense, right? Sometimes Scotty Boy gets a little too carried away with that fan service.
Yeah! You see it! Yeah!
Children's entertainment, you guys. My second recommendation is to make the animatronic band themselves actual animatronic, or at the very least, make them seem more practical in a way. Don't make them look completely CGI, and don't make them into a bunch of guys in suits. It looks tacky and almost laughable. Okay, maybe just laughable. I can excuse CGI possibly pull off some effects that can't be done practically, but don't make it too apparent to the point where it looks like an Avengers movie. But to be fair, if they do make it completely out of CGI, I can't entirely blame them because making actual animatronics with different functions may be a bit pricey. Especially for Blumhouse, since they're known for its low-budget motto. I did a little research on how much money it would cost to make animatronics, and depending on how it's being made, it can either be $100 or $1 million. But one user on Reddit did an actual estimate on how much it would cost to make each FNAF animatronic, and it was around $45,000. Yeah, good luck with that. Now for my third recommendation, I'm going to talk about something that may or may not be controversial, and that is the movie rating. Should it be PG-13 or rated R? Well, as a lot of you may be aware, Five Nights at Freddy's is known for being gruesome, showing scenes such as stuffing human bodies inside suits with the eyes popping out, having a wearer of a suit dying slowly and horrifically from spring lock failure, a kid's head getting bitten off, all types of child murder, and a man getting his inside scooped out, and then being worn as a flesh suit, having the body slowly decay as they're walking down the sidewalk. As terrifying as that sounds, people want to see that crap. I want to see that crap. It could put the audience of non-FNAF fans on edge, and the fans get to see these crucial moments in the series of how it actually gets done in live action. So you could say that the rating for the movie should obviously be rated R, which will make the movie a whole lot better. But I have a suspicion that it's going to be PG-13 instead. And even though I prefer if the movie was rated R, I would think making it PG-13 would be the best decision. Since the first game, FNAF has been rated T for teens and people older than that. And to cut off the majority of the fans that are teenagers and younger is a bad idea business-wise. There are only a few adults out there who know about FNAF, and even the adults who know about the movie and nothing about the games may be uninterested by its cutesy design and think it's just kids nonsense, which is the right thing to assume, because if you think about the designs of the characters themselves, they're animals, they talk, and have sort of a cartoony look. Why wouldn't that attract kids? Plus, it's mostly the kids who buy up the cheap plushies, the Funko Pops, buttons, and other forms of merchandise. If the FNAF movie does come out as PG-13, kids will eat that junk up, and the movie will roll head on into Money Town and actually be a success. And maybe after the theatrical release, we'll get a director's cut that shows the FNAF movie in its pure R-rated gory glory for ourselves. And I'd say that's a pretty reasonable compromise. Besides, the FNAF movie may just be off-screen kills with the animatronics jump-scaring people anyway. So don't be too mad about it being PG-13 either. Now that we've talked about the no YouTuber policy, the need of practical effects, and the PG rating, I think it's time to talk about the story. Now, whatever Scott chooses to do with the story is out of my control, and he shouldn't really just completely change the script because it's not the definitive story that the fans just have in their head. But I do have a couple ideas and suggestions that might help put it on the right track. For example, we already know it's going to take place in FNAF 1, and they should have the plot feel a little vague, just like in classic FNAF fashion, but don't make it to the point where only fans can understand the movie and no one else. Also, it would be cool to have the beginning of the movie start out like the instructional intro from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, and even if it isn't the introduction to the movie, I would like to see it get incorporated in some way. Also, they should have the entirety of the story take place at the pizzeria and nowhere else. Like, maybe have the night guard who's working there after their shift go back in the daytime and have him gain his information from either the people who work there or have them going through files hidden in desk drawers. And then he stumbles upon missing posters and all of those notices to prove that Fazbear's Pizzeria truly does have something to hide. Anything is just better than just a quick Google search and finding all this stuff out from there. it also may reveal the plot too quickly and too easily, in my opinion. They did the same freaking thing in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake and in the Silent Hill movie. So now it's like, yay, now we know everything. So much for mystery and all that. To avoid this from happening, I suggest making the movie take place around the 80s or 90s, where the internet was barely at its peak. One other intro idea I have, if they don't go with the first idea, is showing a brief clip of Purple Guy trying to lure the kid at the arcade machine, and then show him closing the door behind him and cutting the scene off there, only for it to be further explained as the movie goes on. These are all suggestions, and most likely than not, I don't think this will be included in the movie, but if I had to guess on what they're actually going to go with, I'll tell you. They're probably going to go with the whole robots turning evil at night story and vaguely hint at what's actually going on, and if they make enough money for the sequel, they might actually reveal the whole truth. As for who our protagonist may be, I think it could be Michael Schmidt, and as for his reason for going back to the establishment even after the first night, it could be because he's trying to know what happened there years ago, or maybe he's just being called there for some other reason and is willing to comply. The movie probably won't be as violent as some may want it to be, and all deaths that may occur will just show jump scares from the animatronics every time. Even if the movie does turn out like this, I won't be mad or disappointed though. As long as the story seems compelling enough, I'll be fine. And maybe the fan base will feel the exact same way. Well, that was my deep discussion on the FNAF movie, and hopefully some of you will see the suggestions, points, and predictions I made as reasonable. I always liked FNAF, and I want this movie to succeed a lot. It has been teased and talked about for years, and I'm hoping for it to live up to the hype. If done right, it could open up doors for new potential fans, and it could go down in history as being one of the best, if not most faithful, movie adaptation of a video game. I know Scott is trying his hardest to make this movie as good as possible, and I would like to believe Chris Columbus and Jason Blum are doing the same. Hopefully, when the day comes and it's released, it'll be an experience worth waiting for. Well, that's all I have to say for now, and I would like to thank you for sticking around to hear this fanboy just ramble so long about the furry horror game, and I'll see you all another time. Oh, and before I close out here, if anybody I know from school happens to see this video of me acting like a whole Five Nights at Freddy's nerd, I was joking, alright? You really think I would unironically talk about that baby game for more than 3 minutes? Cringe, am I right? I swear I don't like that junk. I'm like 16 and way too mature for that crap. FNAF 0 out of 10. The ex-girlfriend that I totally have made me feel more dread than this garbage.